right, you guys, welcome to Donny B Tv. I am your host on this beautiful, beautiful Thursday night. It is 9 o'clock. Every night at 9 o'clock, we interview interesting people in the community that's doing some big things. We got a very special guest. We got Sean Mason with us tonight. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Doing good, brother. How you doing?
Did I say your name right, man?
Stan, yeah, you got it. Stan
Yeah,
Mason.
man. So, man, let's talk about this, man, because the George Floyd bill. But well, before we start that, introduce yourself, man, so people can know who you are.
Stan Mason, the host, originator, founder of Behind the Blue Curtain, which started in Waco, Texas. I
Mhm.
was a working police officer in Waco, Texas. And after the murders of Philando Castile and Alton Sterling, I've been speaking out on police reform, while still working. Of course, that didn't go over real well with a lot of my colleagues, not calling anything out in my department or my city,
Mhm.
but the inconsistencies of what happens in policing.
Right.
And I think oftentimes the community, as far as the blue community, and to a degree, the black community,
Hmm.
don't really understand, and to a greater degree, the white community doesn't even think about it. But when you are a black police officer, particularly if you're a black female police officer or a Hispanic police officer, you're constantly balancing the wants, desires, needs, and expectations of your community.
Right. Right.
That even though you went through an academy that's 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, whatever it is, you brought a whole life experience of some of these stories we hear in the streets. You've lived them, you've been part of them, you've seen them. So you know them to be true. So you're always kind of trying to balance
Hmm.
these things. And so it becomes frustrating sometimes when you see things that happen, for instance, with minority officers,
Hmm.
and you don't see that group of officers around them who understand and defend them. And so for me, and I'm not knocking anybody there, George Clinton said to each his reach. If I don't cop, it's not mine to have. But for me, I couldn't sit back in good faith. And I lived in the community that I served. I wasn't out in the enclaves of the suburbs, and I was right there with them. And so you become frustrated is not a good word.
Hmm.
You get tired of being marginalized.
Right. Let's talk about this also, man, because the House just passed the bill, and we're going to go to this video footage, and I want you to tell me what you think about it. Right now, here we go, right here.
The bill is passed.
The U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill on Wednesday called the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. Democratic Representative Karen Bass co-wrote the legislation.
One of the goals of the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act is to raise the standards of policing in America and also to transform the culture.
The law would ban controversial police tactics and make it easier to sue police officers for violating suspects' constitutional rights. The bill includes measures which would restrict funds to local governments that allow chokeholds, ban no-knock warrants, and require police agencies to provide data on the use of deadly force. Its most controversial provisions would change qualified immunity for police, making it easier to sue police for excessive use of force. Its prospects of passing in the Senate remain uncertain. Conservatives have attacked the bill, saying it would be dangerous for police officers and community safety. Democrats pushed the bill through the House by a vote of 220 to 212, with only one Republican vote in favor, Representative Lance Gooden. Later that night, he tweeted his vote had been a mistake and he actually opposes the bill. The House vote came just days before former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin goes on trial for murder in the death of Floyd last year. Floyd, a 46-year-old black man, died when he was detained with Chauvin kneeling on his neck for nearly 8 minutes. His death sparked weeks of global protests, many led by the organization Black Lives Matter.
Whew. Okay, so what's going through your head right now?
When I see these bills go out and everybody celebrates,
Hmm.
James Baldwin said, I can't believe what you say because I see what you do.
Mhm.
Just the fact that this bill passed, 220 to 212 is disparaging. Just that we got it through. That's not good enough because that says that you still have 95% of those people who are in power who simply still fail to understand the
Right.
problem. So then I have to say that while we may celebrate and say that this bill went forward, and it's a good look for uh, the House to push that out. But then I say 212 of the elected officials who still oppose this bill
Mhm.
is scary to me because I have to wonder how much teeth or enforcement comes with this bill just by the amount of people
Mhm.
who voted in opposition to this bill. That's the collectively scary part.
Right.
I think that the bill does not go nearly as far as it should have gone, but that comes because these politicians did not go to the minority community and ask them. Everybody is not a member of Black Lives Matter, and I'm not knocking Black Lives Matter
Right.
or the Black Panthers or the Black Church. We
Mhm.
are individuals who collectively suffer at the hands of a condition that we did not create, nor do
Mhm.
we control. So, how many of these legislators went out into that Black community and that Hispanic community and another community that's forgotten? How about your indigenous people?
Yeah.
How about your LGBTQ community? Okay,
Mhm.
they did not go out and do their due diligence and their homework in this. So I'm optimistic, but I'm careful
But
of the bill.
you say that this is a step to the next level.
I'm not prepared to call it a step to the next level
Mhm.
because there are things written into this bill that they know absolutely will not get through the Senate, but it looks good to say, look what I did. See, this
Mhm.
is what politicians do. Very few of them who even voted, Republican or Democrat, have to worry about going out of their house and being stopped by the police just because they're Black.
Mhm.
The
Yeah. You.
majority of those people voting, and some of the Black ones too, can
Mhm.
get in their car like a Lincoln Navigator commercial and drive across America. You and I can't. If
No.
I
You.
come back to Texas to visit from Georgia, I've got to sit down and pick out and plan where I can stop, where I can't stop, where I better not stop. Not just always because of police, but because of the racial tensions and some of these races that are in between
Right.
Atlanta, Georgia, and Waco, Texas. So the Green Book exists today. Why isn't those type of things written into this law?
Mhm.
So there are things in it that were left out that I felt should have been included in this bill. But because people who are writing it don't always experience it and
Mhm.
are not coming to ask us what we want in it,
Right.
I'm happy, but this is not a magic bullet.
Let me ask you this: as a former police officer, what do you say to those white police officers out there? What advice would you give to them now? This police officers.
That's a hard question because I don't think that policing is as narrow as always black and white.
Mhm.
And if we want to get into the inner workings of policing, so much as it is a socioeconomic or even a power trip thing,
Mhm.
because we've seen a lot of these incidents where there may be a white officer perpetrating the individual act, but there's a black one standing there.
Right.
What is he doing? Nothing. So do we give him or her a pass? Do we call him or her out? And
Mhm.
sometimes I think the public doesn't know the battles that a lot of black officers fight behind the scenes.
Mhm.
And then we go into a public that says, well, you're an Uncle Tommy, you're this or you're that, where you just got done going through battle and roll call, fighting over some stuff. So I would say not so much to the white officers because I don't expect them to understand our condition in America,
Mhm.
but I do expect them to respect my
Right.
position in America as a citizen. So I think that we have to spend less time trying to get them to understand and more time saying, we are paying you Leave your personal opinion at home. Stop saying everything is a training issue.
Right.
We hear that. And that's nonsensical and simply not true in all aspects, because there are times when things are training. Our police officers good, mental health evaluators. No, we're not. But you send the police officer there because your son or daughter is not taking their medicine. It's got nothing to do with us. And you wonder why the person's shot.
I tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Tatiana Jefferson case coming up in August. Also, the Fort Worth Police Department, the new chief, been firing a lot of police officers. We're going to talk about that and get your input on that. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to have more coming up right here on Community Phone. We are making a difference. We'll be right back. Hey.
The bill is passed.
The U.S. House of Representatives.
Hey. I'm still trying to learn how to do this, man.
Take the pressure off your kidneys and your health. High blood pressure is a second leading cause of kidney failure after diabetes. If you have high blood pressure, you're at risk for chronic kidney disease, which can lead to kidney failure. Kidney disease also increases your chances of stroke, heart attack, and death. Early-stage kidney disease usually has no symptoms. The good news is healthy lifestyle habits that help you manage high blood pressure also help protect your kidneys. Take medications as prescribed. Aim for a healthy weight. Select healthier foods and beverages. Quit smoking. Aim for at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Reduce stress and make physical activity part of your routine. For more information about the link between high blood pressure and kidney health, visit niddk.nih.gov.
We live in uncertain times. However, there is one thing you can be certain of: the men and women of the United States Postal Service. We're here to deliver cards and packages from loved ones, and also deliver the peace of mind of knowing that essentials like prescriptions are on their way. Every day, all across America, we deliver for you, and we always will.
If you and your family plan to move soon, you'll be pleased to know that moving is considered an essential service by the federal government. To keep consumers and movers healthy and safe during the pandemic, the American Moving and Storage Association offers some facts and tips. For example, it's wise to work directly with your movers to determine the best time and method for your move. The moving company will alert you if there are any disruptions in service as a result of state guidance. Consider asking if your professional mover can provide a virtual estimate rather than one based on an in-home visit. Notify the movers if anyone in your household may have contracted coronavirus. Try to provide your moving crew access to a sink, soap, and paper towels throughout your move. If this isn't practical, provide hand sanitizer or wipes. Consider deep cleaning your new home before unpacking to mitigate further the risk of contracting disease. To learn more, go to moving.org and follow at AMSAPROMOVER on social media.
Take the pressure off your kidneys and your health. High blood pressure is a second leading cause of kidney failure after diabetes. If you have high blood pressure, you're at risk for chronic kidney disease, which can lead to kidney failure. Kidney disease also increases your chances of stroke, heart attack, and death. Early stage kidney disease usually has no symptoms. The good news is healthy lifestyle habits that help you manage high blood pressure also help protect your kidneys. Take medications as prescribed. Aim for a healthy weight. Select healthier foods and beverages. Quit smoking. Aim for at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Reduce stress and make physical activity part of your routine. For more information about the link between high blood pressure and kidney health, visit niddk.nih.gov.
All right, you guys, we are back here on Donny B TV. I had to change a little bit real quick. My cameraman told me, he said, man, put the mask on. I said, okay. All right, man, so we are back on the thing. I got to ask you this real quick too, Mr. Mason, man. What do you think about the governor of Texas opening everything back up?
He's an idiot.
Do you think that's a good plan?
Well, let me ask you this. Does everybody in Texas have drinking water right now?
Nope, not everybody don't have it. It took me 3 days to get mine.
So instead of fixing that one catastrophe, let's just compound the coronavirus, and maybe if you can go out to the club and have a good time and go out to a restaurant where most of us really can't afford to go right now because with corona, we're all behind their bills or about to be there. So but it'll make you feel less thirsty if you can have the option to go out to someplace you can't afford to go out. That was nonsensical. I
agree with you on that. I mean, I agree with you. Especially, like I say, it took me 2 or 3 days for us to even get water here. And so, thank God that the city council, man, for this area actually came and brought me some water. So, but everybody else, man, they still going through a lot. And so, opening the state back up, I really don't think that's a good idea.
Those folks in Texas better start voting. Georgia showed you the way, not once, but we did it twice.
Right.
And you got Dallas, Austin, Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, El Paso. You have too many big cities there that are minority populated for the Republicans just to run everything. And I don't want to make the show about politics, but I do want to say that I'm not going to blame white folks who go out and vote, and I'm not going to blame Republicans who go out and vote. I'm going to blame all those people, whether they're black, white, Hispanic, doesn't matter, who are they're getting the justice that no vote voted for.
Mm-hmm.
But when you chose to stay home.
Yeah.
And Texas is a big, unnecessarily Republican state.
Mm-hmm.
It's a red state for no reason. I mean, if you've ever lived there, which I did for 26, 27 years, it's amazing. And you can go to the Texas State Capitol down there in Austin, and you'd never even know that Texas was a conservative place if you go to Austin. And I don't think anybody's ever gone to Austin and not had a good time, Yeah,
you sure right. For those who just now tuned in to us, we got Mr. Stan Mason live with us right here on Channel 49 TV Network. And make sure you tune in to us every night, Monday through Friday at 9 o'clock. Also, he has a program on our station, and you can check out the replay of his radio show on our station every day, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m., man. How you feel about that, man? You on every day.
Well, I get tired of looking at me, man. I see me in the mirror all the time in the morning. I close my eyes now when I wash my face,
You said you close your eyes. We had a very interesting show that you did over the weekend. That was a good show. Now, real quick, man, before we talk about the Tatiana Jefferson case, man, tell everybody what time they can tune in to you on Blog Talk Radio.
10 a.m. Central, or, they're in Texas. It's 10 a.m. It's 11 here on the East Coast. Or they can go to my Facebook and see the live of the show. I mean, you don't have to be on my friends list to see the show. You can come on there, you can comment in the stream of the show. I invite haters and critics, but if I can, real quick, go back to when we were talking about the George Floyd law that was just passed. A couple of things when I said I was optimistic but disappointed about things that weren't added. One of the things that they played, they said that there would be uh, a restriction of funds for cities who did not adhere to a certain I'm not real big on that, because I have found through just being Black in America that when you start talking about restricting funds as a punishment tool, that always gets visited upon the communities that need those funds the most.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not real keen on them using money as a punishment tool. The second thing is that I think when you're talking police reform, you cannot totally look at it from the perspective of me, the citizen, or the Black citizen or Hispanic citizen, and to hell with the officers. You can't do that, because most of your minority officers and female officers of all colors are trying to survive in that job, and they become victims when they speak out.
Mm-hmm. Did we lose him? For those who just now tuning into us, we're talking to Stan Mason. Stan Mason is a radio talk show host, former Waco police officer who's been on the police force for 25 years. And he's also a retired police officer. And he's been working within the police department. That's why he's on the show with us today to talk to us about what's going on. Again, man, I was just letting the viewers know, man, you are a 25-year veteran police officer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the citizens, brother.
Huh?
The citizens allowed me to be there 25 years. It wasn't me. It's not great training, and I'm some tactical superstar. I probably walked around people who could have taken my life at a given moment if they so chose to do.
But but we really need more police officers like you. That's good. That's fair to the community. And I tell people all the time, it's not about black and white. It's about doing the right thing in the community. And that's what we've been fighting for justice. And that's what my organization been doing, United My Justice. We've been out there last year protesting about the George Floyd protests and stuff. But I think it's important, and people got to understand how important it is for us to continue to fight. Just because the George Floyd the George Floyd bill is passed, that does not mean that we have to stop. We must continue to fight for justice, continue to fight, just continue to fight until change comes. And let's talk about this, man, because we got the Tatiana Jefferson case getting ready to come up in August. Now, according to the report, some sources are saying they believe that this officer who killed Tatiana Jefferson could be getting off. Have you heard that?
I don't even entertain those things, because when it comes to these shootings, everything is media related, everything is likes and click driven. Those people don't know what they're talking about unless they're a lawyer involved in the case or a family member. I don't care what and see, that's what convolutes justice, is that sometimes we grab a string and want to make knit a whole shirt out of it. Let the trial be the trial. And you're right, we do need to fight these social issues. But when I go to some of these events, or if I were to question some of those people there who are standing up for Black rights and equality for everybody, and I go, what's the name of your police chief? They don't even know. Yeah. What's the name of the sergeant that works your area? They don't even know. So I think that while you may not agree with the situation, you have to become involved in the police department to a degree, whether it's a Citizens Police Academy, to where you understand. And you may meet 50 officers and find one that you like and develop a friendship with. And you get to hear, Stan is not I'm not some mentor that's out there. There are a lot of men and women who feel the same way I feel. For whatever reasons, they couldn't say it or can't say it or didn't say it, and that's them. They've got to do with, live their life. But there are a lot of officers out there. That's why I was so big on saying in this bill, there is no whistleblower protection. If you want to protect, when you say police reform, it's not just citizens, it's the officers too, who have to live with that reform. So until you put whistleblower protection that state, municipal, and county officers have, that's to the same degree as the whistleblower protection federal officers have, you will never get true police reform, because those officers don't feel safe speaking up, because they're going to be fired, they're going to be slandered, I know from personal experience, they're going to be driven out. So that should have been put in the bill. That
Right.
wasn't put in. Why? Because these legislators didn't go talk to black police officers or female police officers. They just listened to the community that had a limited understanding of policing. Another thing that should have been in there is the number one killer of police officers. And it ain't black people, it's suicide.
Oh, yeah.
Why? They're not killing themselves because they worked a domestic violence call, or they worked a bad traffic accident, or they worked a murder. We see those. They're calls and we work them.
You so
They're,
right.
they're trying to balance their bills and community sentiment and chief's expectations, city manager's expectations. The community wants this. My sergeant wants this. I got all these problems. Everybody wants me to be the problem solver. I can't do it all.
Right.
And in the meantime, I'm being treated like this. And then when I go through all of that and take this uniform off, I get pulled over because I'm black.
Oh, man. Whew. So you can't win or lose. I mean, you being a police officer, the next thing you know, you getting pulled over. And you know, man, I didn't realize that many police officers get pulled over by their own people. I didn't.
You know, I mean, we can look at the amount of officers who are plainclothes detectives, but they've been shot. You know, I mean, it's when you say in your general orders, you mandate that off duty, I have to carry my gun. Must carry, not, I can get a smaller gun, whatever, but when you're off duty, you will carry a gun with you at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can understand that. You care about my safety. But if you care about my safety, why don't you fix the mindset and attitude of the same people who just killed this brother over here for legally having a gun in the car? Hello, Philando Castile.
Mm-hmm.
Licensed. He wasn't a cop, but he was still legal. So when I don't think the system quite understands that when you're black with a gun in your car legally, you could be a police officer in regular clothes. That could be a death nail in the coffin. They're gonna say, "Oops, we didn't know he was a cop. You know, we're so sorry. Here's a wreath, and we'll play Amazing Grace on bagpipes and Scottish kilts at the funeral. Have a nice day."
Wow.
So it's not that simple. But until officers feel like we're having this discussion now, maybe your listeners are hearing and understanding and listening to things that from the inside of policing. But the men and women in there, and some of them are white, they mean what? They can't tell you some of these things I say because they got to go back to work. I know, trust me.
Right.
And it's not about talking about your department, Fort Worth or Dallas. When you speak against this profession and the problems that are in it, you become a target, not just in your department, but the surrounding agencies, then the state agencies, then every officer in the state knows who you are.
Wow.
You know?
What do you think about Chief Newt being the new Fort Worth police chief? Have you had a chance to talk to him? Or?
No, I don't talk to very many police chiefs. Most of them don't reach out to me, and that's fine because I understand that our show is it can be edgy because we have people on the show who are living through the condition. Everybody doesn't have a PhD or a master's degree or a big title, or they're not Reverend so-and-so. Mm-hmm. Some of them are just single mom or single dad.
Right.
And so sometimes the show gets to where we want to work towards solutions. We want to vent to where we get it out. And that's not really a good form, I don't think, for a lot of chiefs, because the chief of police is a police officer / mostly politician. Mm-hmm. Keep the special interests and the rich folks happy.
Right.
Keep the city management happy. And your officers are getting paid to see what they see. Just, we don't want to hear them grumbling.
Yeah.
And that's certainly not every chief, but that's the hats they're given that they have to juggle. So,
and you got a couple of chiefs that be on your program, because I do, like I say, I tune into your show during the weekday. Once I upload it to the station schedule, I get a chance to check it out whenever I'm not doing nothing, man. I'm sitting down, drinking a cup of coffee. I tune into your show, especially on Monday morning. I'm like, let me see what he got, what he talking about. And man, I tell you what, I enjoyed the show. I like the fact that you have the lady from the former lady from the Fort Worth Police Department that be on there representing. Mm-hmm. You have sometimes you have the chief on there, different chiefs on there talking. And I think you got a really, really good show, man. And I'm very proud of you. And I think it's important that our community pay attention to what's going on. And anything that you want to know about police reform, police department, you can tune into my main man show here on this station Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. and tune into me. Anything you want to know about the police, trust me, they're gonna get down to it, and you're gonna be educated on what's going on every morning, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. right here on Channel 49 TV. Go ahead, man.
No,
I had to do a plug-in for you.
I appreciate it, brother. But really, you know, for me, the stars on the show, all I do is pass the microphone. You know, the stars on the show are the people who have come back from drug addiction, who come on there and teach all of us. I've never been a drug addict. I don't know. And I'm not going to stand on a show and try to act like because I took a police seminar here that I know anything about drug addiction. So we take the least of the people and we make them the most, and we listen to them. And that's kind of the way the show developed, because I got sick of one of the things I didn't like when these big city sponsored police community meetings, when the city sponsored them and they tell you be there. They put you up on the stage with all these important people that you ain't never seen at the problem. And I found that the people who I see the most on my midnight shift, that knew, not Officer Mason, but knew Stan the most, were the homeless people. They were the prostitutes, the drug addicts, the drug dealers, the drunks, you know, and these people weren't even in the church. They were in the parking lot.
Man.
Because they didn't feel comfortable going into church, mostly because the church doesn't go into the community. They don't have nice clothes. When they came in, everybody's going to look at them. Nobody's going to give them the microphone. But the very issues we're discussing, such as homelessness and drug addiction, these are the experts.
Right. Wow.
See, and so I would much rather have those people as guests on the show than somebody with a title.
That has a story to talk about.
Yeah, experience, and that's what we learn from is experience, you know.
Well, you're right about that, man. I tell you what, man, we definitely thank you for coming on the program, talking to us, man. Anytime you want to come back on the program, man, you are welcome. I'm gonna have to get a chance to come on your program too.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna have to make it my effort again to come on.
Okay. Yeah, this week we got a really good guy that I met, you know, through social media. Somebody actually reached out to me and told me about his story. And this guy, and we're going to talk about the father's rights.
Oh yeah, man.
And this is a guy who, for all intents and purposes, is a good guy, you know, no criminal record, you know, hardworking middle-class guy. But unfortunately, the child's mother is in a wealthy family, and, you know, he'll tell his story, but this guy can't get a break in the court. All he wants to do is be part of his son's life. And I felt that show was important, because when America defines herself as the family unit and 2.5 kids in a picket fence and a dog, and if you want to tell men you're a deadbeat dad because you don't do this, you need to be with your family, but then you have housing development, Section 8 and all this, that man says, baby, if right now you're paying $50 a month rent, and I'm able to give you food and school clothes and this and that, if I move in there and we become this American family that America wants us to be, America will then make our rent $700 a month, which we can't afford. Now we have nowhere to live. So I keep going back to James Baldwin. I can't believe what you say, because I see what you do. It's oxymoronic in how we can, on one hand, as men, be called deadbeat dads. Not that there aren't some out there, but at the same time, the ones who are trying to do right, that are working at McDonald's and Burger King, and living with aunts and uncles and friends, because they don't have a place to stay, but they are providing for their kids. They're paying their child support, but they can't go live in that apartment, because if they do, she gets evicted and she gets thrown off housing. So, and why isn't this written in the bill somewhere?
That's a good thought. You are so right about that. And you know what? I see that a lot with a lot of especially our young African American black brothers out there. They really going through a lot. I just over here where I live at, man, we just had this young man. He's about 24, 25, and he got 2 boys, and he's raising these 2 boys by himself. And his housing just completely went away. So now he told me a couple of days ago that him and his 2 boys are gonna have to stay in a shelter because they don't have nowhere else to stay. So, and I'm hearing many different stories like that.
You know, and I applaud the brother. I mean, he's doing what a man can do given the hand that he's being dealt with. But I think sometimes we went through what I call the Oprah phenomenon, where we took the single parent cliche and we made it a condition. You know, like this was some new phenomenon.
Right.
Well,
right.
when Adam died, Eve was a single mother. Okay.
Yeah.
So it ain't nothing new. There
Right.
were plenty of black single parent families because the man was usually lynched.
Yeah.
But that man oftentimes raised a whole bunch of kids that he didn't father in slavery. And none of them looked like him, and he knew it.
Yeah. You're right.
So if we're gonna, maybe we need to redefine what is family. I mean, I see the legislators get twisted out of shape. If two men want to adopt a child or two women are married and want to adopt a child, that becomes a big issue that we bring the legislators together and everybody wants to debate. Well, what about this man who's just simply saying, I would love to be able to marry my kid's mother and live there with her till we get on our feet, but you're going to raise our rent so high, we'll have nowhere to live.
Yeah.
But then you're going to blame me for not being in the house.
Yeah, you're sure right. So pretty much what you're saying is you can't have your cake and eat it too. You either got to do it, help this person do this, or otherwise this person gonna have to do what this person gonna have to do.
We're playing a game where the rules change every day, and I see for leadership, thank God for black women, because really that's about all we have to look up to right now. And I'm just speaking for me, but I look at some of the conditions that we just talked about and we visited upon, and I look at all these black leaders, and only Reverend Barber, the Poor People's Campaign, is talking about these issues. Where are all you mega preachers at?
Yeah, you're right.
And you got one of them up there a few miles from you that I ain't heard boo from.
Wow.
On Corona and nothing else. You got another one south of you down in Houston that wouldn't open his church for flood victims, and I ain't heard boo from him either.
Oh, man.
Hello, Joel Osteen, TD Jakes. I'll call out names.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying that bad people are bad preachers, but I'm saying, you have a platform.
Right.
You have a following.
He sure do.
Then use it. There's no reason why people in Waco are not hearing your message regarding coronavirus and staying masked or take the immunization.
Right.
It ain't all about if you come to me. Once you get into church, pay your dues. I don't even call them tithes and offerings anymore. It's taxation and dues nowadays. in a lot of churches.
Oh yeah. Sure. But the sad part about it, man, let you need some help. All the tithes you've been paying for, let you come to a point where you need help. Ain't nobody gonna come to your rescue at that church at all. I've seen that happen many times in different churches where everybody was paying their tithes, and then first complaint they come over and they say, well, I've been trying to get you guys to help me, but y'all won't help. And that person said, well, it's all about what the church wants. Okay, but it was all about the church when I paid them tithes.
But see, brother, I'm Christian, and I'm not knocking Jesus or the institution of church, and certainly not the black church as an institution. But I will say within them, there are some temples of charlatanism out there where folks are paying all this money and it ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. And then you're right. Those are the churches when they go to, they can't get help, and I had a friend that asked me about that. We had a discussion a couple months ago, and that topic aggravates me. It always did, because I had churches that were in the neighborhood that I policed that was overridden with drug dealers and hopelessness, and I could not figure out why this church wasn't getting involved and why these people kept putting their money and time into that institution, not the church, but that building and that institution. So finally I told him, I said, I'm just going to put it the best way I could put it. You telling me that you're going to this church, you're putting all this money into this specific church, and when you needed help, they couldn't help you? And I said, where are you going next Sunday? You going back there? He said, well, yeah. I said, you know what? A pimp can't be a pimp without a hoe.
Right.
I'm sorry. That's just street language, but it's got to be that way.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, not only that, man, it's just like when a certain person giving so much money to this person, but this person ain't doing nothing to give back, but you constantly giving this person, and you complain about it that this person taking out my money. Well, guess what? He wouldn't be taking your money if you stop giving it to him. As long as you give it, he's gonna keep taking it. Anybody with common sense do the same thing. If you give it to me, I'm gonna take it. So do you get mad at him for taking it, or do you get mad at yourself? But it's different.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a social issue in our community, but I'll tell you the saving grace is because the brothers are tired. You know, you get tired of being the target of police profiling. You get tired of being the one that's found mysterious on a country road. You get tired of being the one hanging in the tree. And so the citizens, I think the good ones have seen it and they stepped up and they're taking the mantle. And sometimes we need to sit down and catch our breath, not take just because you're on the bench doesn't mean you don't watch the game. You sit down and collect your breath because you're going to have to, step back in. I met a brother the other day, older gentleman, and he's really polite. And I said, you're very polite. He said, well, that's because I was raised in the country. I said, well, I don't know about that. The Klan started in the country too. You just had good parents. Don't blame it on the country because there's a whole lot of country roads Stan don't want to drive on.
Oh yeah, you sure right. Wow, man, you're right. You're right, man. Well, I tell you what, man, it's a pleasure having you on the program, and we definitely gonna bring you back on, man. Anytime you want to come on and just talk to us, man, you definitely you are welcome to come back.
Well, I appreciate the invitation and thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything you're trying to do up there. I love Texas. I miss Texas.
You gotta come on, man. Come back to
Oh no, y'all got to start voting first. I'm sorry. You got to be able to keep the lights on.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. You got to be able to give your people water, and then you don't open up your state in the middle of a pandemic. No, y'all got to vote some folks out of office because it's funny. I was working in 2011. I was working the midnight shift when we had that deep freeze and the lights went out.
Right.
And I watched every light in the city of Waco go out. Traffic lights, store lights, street lights, while there were school buses of children on the road. And this is, and I talked about it 2 weeks ago before y'all had the big frost. I talked about it that Saturday on the show. I said, we had rolling blackout schedule. I went home to my apartment. It was 27 degrees with no electricity. And they scheduled like 2 hours on, and I think you'd have 12 hours off because it was statewide. You know how we got electricity to avoid that? Mexico. Google it. Mexico donated electricity to Texas. What did we Google it? What did we do? We built a wall. We called them murderers and thieves and rapists. We separated their families. We locked them up. And when y'all's lights went out this time, Mexico said, can't help you, brother, this wall. I can't.
You sure right.
See how God does.
You sure right. And people from all over, this made not only local and nationwide news, this made worldwide news. I had a lot of my friends from overseas calling me, asking me, was I okay? It was that bad.
Well, brother, I talked about it that Saturday as an example in the discussion. I said, I remember back in 2011, 3 days later, it happened again. So you can't even keep the lights on down there. You got a standalone power grid because the mindset we don't need nobody.
And like you were saying, a lot of people here still don't have no water. We didn't have. Now we was blessed as far as lights go. Our lights never did go out here, but water stayed out for 3 days. 3 days the water stayed out. And then they said that then when the water came back on, they told us we couldn't drink the water. They said, no, y'all can't drink the water on the west side of Fort Worth because the water is something's in the water. We couldn't even drink it.
You can't drink the water.
That's what they told
us. You can't flush your toilets.
You can't do none of that.
You can't take a bath.
No.
Those things add up to disease and pestilence. Now, on top of coronavirus, and you got a governor who I call Governor Deals on Wheels, because he cut deals with everybody, who opens the entire state. That's crazy. That's crazy.
And you know what, man? I could not believe it that he was telling everybody that they don't have to wear their mask no more. And our that I talked to this week, they said no. They said we don't care what the government says. We're gonna still make people come in and wear they mask.
Mhm.
You still can't go into bus service and say the same thing. They said no, ain't nobody coming on this bus without their mask on. So a lot of people in Texas are not really paying attention to what the governor's saying.
I think they're looking at, I can go there now, and yeah, you can go there. But before, when it was social distance, to where maybe if the bus capacity was 50 and they said only 25 people can be on, now it's going to be like the bus is every day. The capacity says 50 and there's 60 people crammed in there.
From what I'm hearing from the buses, especially when I was on it today, they were saying the same thing, that they're gonna keep it just like it was, and they still gonna keep a certain amount of people. They're not gonna let no more people come in. Like on the small buses, you can only get 15 people on the smaller buses. Now on the big buses, they only allow 35 people to get on it.
But who's that gonna impact? The police that now have to get called. I got rights. I should be able to do this, and that citizen's gonna be right to a degree, you know.
Oh,
and then so now the officer's gonna be charged with having to deal with the medical crisis that the country's facing.
right.
I guarantee you that the officers are still going to be wearing masks, but he's got to deal with that. And then he's got to deal with this idiotic solution your governor came up with.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You sure right. To me, it's just gonna get worse. It's just gonna get worse. I mean, because now
Y'all better vote.
And you gotta understand, during the week of the snowstorm, I was already scared to go get my vaccine, and I had to cancel my I had to cancel because I didn't have no way to get there. No buses was running, nothing. The road was real messed up, and so when I called them and told them I couldn't do it, they said, "Well, Mr. Ballard, you don't have to worry about coming in because we're closed." So they was closed. Nobody can get in. This was at CBS Corner. So
y'all better vote.
They told me it's gonna take a year for me to make an appointment. So my second appointment is coming up on the 16th of this month. That's gonna end up being my first vaccine now. It's not gonna be my second one now.
Well, brother, long as you get in there and get it, but y'all folks in Texas better vote. I mean, you better start dealing yourself with a system and learning and to say, you know, well, I don't have time to figure it out. We had no problem learning the dope game.
Yeah.
We have no problem learning how to do some of those things that are detrimental to our well-being. We study the whole game.
Yeah, you're right.
You better learn how to vote, because our apathy and disconnection from the problem promotes us into a permanent victimhood. We're willing victims of some of this stuff.
Right.
If we wouldn't have to worry about Congress giving police reform. You get it in your city.
Yeah.
Because if you're not getting it with this mayor, get rid of that mayor. If you're not getting it with this city council person, get rid of that city council person. If you're not getting it with Governor Deals on Wheels down in Austin, get rid of him. Don't blame the folks who are voting for him. Blame your friends and family who are telling you, man, I don't vote, but you don't say nothing to them.
Right. Oh, and man, you know what? That makes me so mad. Anytime that people tell me, oh, I'm not gonna vote. You say you're not gonna vote. Well, guess what? Don't even talk to me. Don't even tell me about any problems you have if you're not getting out there and vote. I don't want to hear it. Because if you was really real about it, you would have went out there and voted. But when you tell me that you don't vote, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna stay away from it. I ain't got nothing to say to you. I ain't gonna curse you out. I ain't gonna get mad at you. I'm just not gonna talk to you.
You know, and especially for us, you know, look at what Stacey Abrams did.
Yeah.
You know, we look at how hard right now, especially here in Georgia, they're fighting. The Republicans are fighting any way they can to take that vote away, to make it difficult for Black people to vote. And you know, it's amazing because we realize we're being raped, and we're saying, well, I'm willing to endure the rape if I can have the after sex cigarette. That's crazy.
Yep. And then, and also, man, I don't know if you've been watching it, man, but the Republicans, I seen a report last night. The Republicans are trying to push to get this voter ID passed, and they were talking about it last night, and they were saying that it's that they feel that the votes were stolen from them. So we want them to push for the ID, which is gonna, I mean,
You know, I
have my ID whenever I get out and vote, but you know, a lot of people don't even have an ID.
well, you know what? But they should have an ID.
Oh yeah,
You
you're
know,
right.
because I'm going to tell you, one of the things when you come in contact with police, one of the things that will take your contact with them from 30 seconds to 30 days, don't have an ID.
Yeah.
Don't have an ID.
And also I heard it's really against the law not to have an ID. And if you lose that ID, you got to get that ID within 30 days? That's what the Texas Public Safety told me. That you have to have an ID within
having an ID will save you. It will make a smoother transition into police contact. But another thing that having an ID will do for you, if I'm riding down the road and I get sent to this accident, and I just see the car's gone, there's just a body laying there. I don't know who this person is. You're sitting in the morgue.
That's true.
We don't know what's what. We don't know if you're injured. We don't even have a name to where we can call the hospitals and they go, yeah, we've got their whole medical record and we know what they're allergic to. We know this. When you don't have, there's no excuse not to have an ID. If you got a Facebook account, you got a TikTok account, you got a YouTube account, you got all this other stuff.
You sure can't
got no ID.
ID. If you try to get the money out and you ain't got no ID, you ain't getting that money out.
Sure, you can take the time to get an ID. If you can update your Facebook and your TikTok and your TikTok and whatever else, all these. So if you got time to do all of that,
yeah, you
can go down there and get an ID. I don't want to hear people, I don't have time. If you can spend 14 hours waiting on Target to open at 4 a.m. because the Mayor George is going to come on sale on this Black Friday, you can get an ID.
Yeah. And not only that, man, you can't go nowhere without the ID. You got to have that ID. Especially for the young people that like to drink their beer. Okay, if you ain't got no ID, they're not gonna let you get no beer. You got to have that ID. Go out to the club, but you gotta have your ID.
And for the people who don't want it and think it's an inconvenience, turn to some of our Mexican brothers and sisters who wished they could have an ID.
Yeah.
They're praying for the day they can get what? An ID.
And
they're praying for it.
Not having an ID. You sure right. Man, I tell you what, man, thank you, man, for coming on the program for us, man, and talking to us, man. You definitely gotta come back on the show, man.
Well, I enjoyed it. I appreciate it, It's a good woosah moment for me because you deal with all this stuff so much collectively, and you sit in your quiet place and you can get bottled up,
Right. You sure right. All right, so we're gonna take another quick break. Coming up next, we got Rob. He's got a new show coming on our station called The Front Row. It's the brand new sports show coming to our station, not this Sunday, but next Sunday on March 12th. And we're gonna be talking to him coming up next. We're gonna take a quick break. And again, man, anything else you want to say real quick?
Appreciate you, man. You be safe up there, man. And like I said, y'all, Texas brothers and sisters, y'all start voting, please.
All right, man. Appreciate it. We're gonna take a quick break, you guys, and we'll be right back, y'all. Right after this.
Take the pressure off your kidneys and your health. High blood pressure is a second leading cause of kidney failure after diabetes. If you have high blood pressure, you're at risk for chronic kidney disease, which can lead to kidney failure. Kidney disease also increases your chances of stroke, heart attack, and death. Early-stage kidney disease usually has no symptoms. The good news is healthy lifestyle habits that help you manage high blood pressure also help protect your kidneys. Take medications as prescribed. Aim for a healthy weight. Select healthier foods and beverages. Quit smoking. Aim for at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Reduce stress. And make physical activity part of your routine. For more information about the link between high blood pressure and kidney health, visit niddk.nih.gov.
We live in uncertain times. However, there is one thing you can be certain of. The men and women of the United States Postal Service. We're here to deliver cards and packages from loved ones, and also deliver the peace of mind of knowing that essentials like prescriptions are on their way. Every day, all across America, we deliver for you, and we always will.
If you and your family plan to move soon, you'll be pleased to know that moving is considered an essential service by the federal government. To keep consumers and movers healthy and safe during the pandemic, the American Moving and Storage Association offers some facts and tips. For example, it's wise to work directly with your movers to determine the best time and method for your move. The moving company will alert you if there are any disruptions in service as a result of state guidance. Consider asking if your professional mover can provide a virtual estimate rather than one based on an in-home visit. Notify the movers if anyone in your household may have contracted coronavirus. Try to provide your moving crew access to a sink, soap, and paper towels throughout your move. If this isn't practical, provide hand sanitizer or wipes. Consider deep cleaning your new home before unpacking to mitigate further the risk of contracting disease. To learn more, go to moving.org and follow at AMSAPROMOVER on social media.
Take the pressure off your kidneys and your health. High blood pressure is a second leading cause of kidney failure after diabetes. If you have high blood pressure, you're at risk for chronic kidney disease, which can lead to kidney failure. Kidney disease also increases your chances of stroke, heart attack, and death. Early-stage kidney disease usually has no symptoms. The good news is healthy lifestyle habits that help you manage high blood pressure also help protect your kidneys. Take medications as prescribed. Aim for a healthy weight. Select healthier foods and beverages. Quit smoking. Aim for at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Reduce stress and make physical activity part of your routine. For more information about the link between high blood pressure and kidney health, visit niddk.nih.gov.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the show. We want to say a big shout out to everybody out there tuning in to us right now. We are definitely doing it real big right here. And you can tune in to us every night at 9 o'clock right here on Channel 49 TV Network. We want to thank my main man for calling into the program, talking to us. And again, so much is going on, and we're gonna go to my main man, Rob, who show will be airing back with us, not this Sunday, but next Sunday. We're gonna go to him right now, and we'll be right back right after. Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are back right here on the hottest show in the nation, right here on Channel 49 TV. And we got a very special guest, man. He's back. He's coming back on the show. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday, man. Welcome to the show, man. What's going on?
Man, it's been a heck of a year. Just trying to get back in the swing of things.
Yeah.
You know, since football is over, you know, we just provide a little different content, some basketball, a lot of boxing, because that's we more versed in football and boxing than basketball. But the show next week, we're gonna do the other things. You know, our statement, sports and other things, right? So next week we having a men's show.
Wow.
Have the men, have the women call in with some questions, relationship questions, things like that. So should be fun next week.
Let's talk about this, man, because it was a bad year this year for the Cowboys, man. What happened to those Cowboys?
The main thing that happened is a quarterback got hurt. You know, without your quarterback, without your franchise quarterback, pretty much you're done.
Right.
Dak is a franchise quarterback, even though they don't think he is. Dak is a franchise quarterback, and they need to pay the man. So when he went down, they didn't have a chance.
What do you think they need to do different in 2021 to really try to get themselves together, man?
2021, they need a lot of defense. That's one. Dak need to get healthy. They need a good draft. Get a lot of defensive help. What else would help them is having a whole offseason with the coaches being able to coach the players personally.
Wow.
Last year they didn't have no camp, no rookie camp, no camp for anything. They just had to show up at the game. So that hurt them because they had to change the coach.
And again, man, y'all can check out my main man show, not this Sunday, but next Sunday.
Next Sunday, right.
And tell them a little bit about your show, man.
Well, like I said, we're kind of in our off season, so we do a lot of different things. We talk sports in between the other things. So next week we're gonna be doing some other things. That following week it'll probably be sports and a lot of draft and a lot of boxing. So
and y'all tell them the name of your show.
So it's the Front Row Show.
The Front Row.
Catch us on Facebook Live, and then you can check our YouTube page.
Okay.
If you missed the show.
And you can also check them out here every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And it's 10 o'clock all across the country and all over the world. It's 10 o'clock the same. So whatever time is your Eastern time, whatever time zone you in, it's going to still be at 8 o'clock. But I'll tell you what, man, you better go back on the other side, man. And you got any quick shout out real quick?
Say that again?
Do you got any quick shout out?
Yes, I got a shout out to my co-host and co-producer, William White. And that's all I got.
All right, y'all. And we'll be right back with more on the other side, right here on Channel 49 TV, Donny B TV. We'll be right back. All right, you guys. That was earlier today that we did an interview with him to put him on the program. And again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in to us, and make sure you check us out Monday through Friday at 9 o'clock right here on Channel 49 TV, where we are making a difference. Remember, y'all, if it is to be, it's up to you. Make a difference. Good night, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time. Tomorrow night, we got a very special guest, Esther Davis from she's house, the Esther Davis TV show. She will be joining us tomorrow. So check that one out. And Deborah Peoples coming on. Also, Deborah people told me to make sure we let everybody know that they will be having early voting. Early voting will be starting on April the 19th, and it will go from April the 19th to April the 27th. We'll get more details about that tomorrow. I'm Donnell Ballard. You tune in to us right here on Donny B TV. We'll see you next time right here.